thrilled him. Worse, he spent one additional day of each week in special weapons or skill training with Blazer instructors, who taught him how to improve with his weapon of choice. That meant that he and Becca, supported by Leo and Sarah, could only spend 3 full days of every 7 leveling in the wilderness of Evelan. They could scrape together the equivalent of a 4th day by going out for a few hours before or after their classes and special training on those days, but doubling up was exhausting. As such, in the 3 weeks since the gods had offered to resurrect Zack Silverstone, Glenn, in a duo party with Becca, had not earned 100 experience a day, which was the average Sarah had suggested he would need to earn on a daily basis to reach level 15 before the timer from the gods expired. Thanks to the competition with over 1,000 other adventurers for monster kills in the wilderness of Evelan, he and Becca had managed 70 experience on their best day and 40 at their worst. With almost 1 full month now gone, he'd gained a measly 200 experience toward his goal. At that rate, Zack's resurrection was as good as lost. Even so, Glenn had put off today's grim task long enough. He wouldn't even be here today without Lillian Stoutcrag, the brave brutalist who'd fallen in the caverns deep beneath the twin sisters over 8 years ago. Without her shield, he'd be entombed in that mountain. So, for this day only, his struggle to save his best friend's soul could wait. He'd solved the experience problem another way. He just needed more time to come up with a plan. "I didn't expect minotaurs to be quite so big," Becca said quietly from his side. Glenn glanced at Rebecca Coldbreaker to find her eyeing the camp with trepidation. Even bundled up in a thick fur cloak that guarded against the cold, the woman he loved remained a dark-haired vision. Not a day went by that he didn't miss his parents, Wolfpine and his fellow town guards, and not a day went by that he wasn't grateful he was finally able to adventure beside Becca. "I kinda hope they do pick a fight," a second woman said eagerly from his other side. "I've never actually fought a minotaur. I wonder if we'll still get experience if I toss it off a cliff." Glenn glanced to his other side to find a second woman of whom he was also growing quite fond, a fact he would have felt guilty about had Becca not shared his feelings. Unlike Becca, Ashley Bloodbraid looked intrigued by the Minotaur camp below, likely because she was thinking about the experience they would yield when pummeled. Had she not been here to protect them, Ashley might already have run down to the camp to mix it up with the Minotaurs. Monsters one could attack and defeat without competition were rare in Evelan, the 8 to 16 zone in which Glenn now spent his days, and a whole camp of unchallenged Minotaurs appealed to Ashley's desire to level. If Glenn was being honest with himself, the idea of wiping out those Minotaurs appealed to him too, but it wasn't why they were here. They were here today to repay a debt to a dead woman. They were going to bring Lillian home. As Glenn looked away from Ashley, he couldn't help but wince at how lightly she was dressed. Her only admission that the air was intensely cold up here had been to don a thin fur tunic over her huntress leathers. Her muscular arms and legs remained bare to the elements, but numb, an anchorite blessing that prevented the owner from feeling pain, likely meant she didn't feel the cold. Glenn would just have to make sure she didn't develop frostbite without realizing it. "Let's not toss anyone off a cliff unless we have to," Glenn cautioned everyone. "Remember, if all goes well, we'll sneak past the camp without attracting the attention of a single Minotaur." Ashley offered him a warm grin. "And when have any of your plans ever gone well, Graybreaker?" She was teasing him again. "If Becca hadn't insisted on coming out here with you today, I was inclined to let you go alone. Your talent for finding trouble is second only to Owen's." "Oh, shush," Becca said from Glenn's other side. "He's not nearly that bad." "I'm not complaining," Ashley added warmly. "I'm just saying I'm almost certain that, despite Graybreaker's best hopes, we'll be pummeling some Minotaurs today. I'd put money on it." As Becca scooted closer to Glenn, a devious grin crossed her face. "How much?" Ashley scooted closer to Glenn from his other side, and soon the two women had him sandwiched between them. "How about the loser buys the first round?" His companions were very close, very warm, and very conspicuous. Below them, one of the 2 visible Minotaurs tasked with guarding the single gate leading into the Minotaur camp shifted its weight and visibly snorted as it stared up. Glenn grabbed the arms of both.